How to develop wider shoulders is a common question I receive, but the shoulder muscle itself, also known as the deltoids, is relatively small. This is why the key to developing wider shoulders is not just a ton of shoulder pressing, but to also develop the muscles surrounding your shoulders to create the illusion of having a broader frame. Just look at my shoulder transformation. The reason my shoulders look wider is of course partially because of having bigger deltoids, but also the lats are wider, the upper chest is more defined, and the traps are more developed. So we need to focus our efforts into more than just shoulder training. Specifically, there are 4 regions we need to train. First, of course, the deltoids themselves. Secondly, we want to train the lats as well. Thirdly, we also want to develop the upper trapezius, and lastly, the upper chest. I will walk you through how to effectively train these 4 regions so you can develop a wider and stronger frame. I will also share a simple example routine that brings together the tips discussed in today's video. Now, starting with the deltoids themselves, there are 3 heads of the deltoid we want to develop. The front deltoid, side deltoid, and rear deltoid. The front deltoid gets trained during vertical pressing exercises, so we can cover this well with the shoulder press. The side deltoid gets trained in vertical shoulder abduction, so this gets trained with lateral raises. And the rear deltoid gets trained in horizontal shoulder abduction, so with movements like rear delt flies. For each head, we want to have an exercise incorporated in our routine. The shoulder press is a compound exercise that will target all 3 heads, but if we look at the research, it's clear that the shoulder press does bias the front deltoids mostly. And when it comes to developing wider shoulders, specifically we want to pay extra attention to the side deltoid, because the side deltoid is the single muscle that can directly contribute to the width of your shoulders. On the internet, this has been picked up and some people even advise to spam lateral raises to get more developed side delts. As long as we stay within reason, doing extra side delt work is beneficial in this case. Maintaining a higher training volume on a particular muscle group has been shown to help enhance muscle growth in that area. So if you want to develop wider delts, then consider training your side deltoids about 2 to 3 times per week through isolation movements. These side deltoids get trained through side raises, but the way you perform side raises of course also matters. Oftentimes people struggle with actually engaging these side deltoids during lateral raises. There are 2 quick tips that we can use to make side raises more effective for developing the side delts. First, lean forward slightly before doing the side raise. Secondly, raise the arms slightly in front of your body in the scapular plane. Now the resistance is better aligned with the side delt muscle fibers and your shoulder muscles get better stimulation. Also, to further intensify your side deltoid training, consider using a cable if it's available. With a regular dumbbell side raise, the resistance on your side deltoids at the bottom of the movement is very low. With a cable side raise, you get more constant tension placed on the deltoids throughout the reps, so the side delt fibers get challenged better. I recommend training both a dumbbell and cable side delt raise variation in your routine to hit the side delts from different angles and develop broader shoulders. After training the shoulder muscles themselves, another area we want to develop for wider shoulders is the lats. Building wider lats will directly contribute to having a wider upper body frame as well. In order for us to develop the lats in the most effective way possible, we want to prioritize horizontal and vertical pulling movements in which you maintain a shoulder width grip. As a rule of thumb for back training, when you maintain a wider elbow positioning, the resistance is more in line with the upper back, while if you maintain a shoulder width elbow positioning, the resistance is more on the lats. For overall back development, we want to train both narrow and wide grip pulling variations. But when it comes to strictly increasing shoulder width, ironically enough, a more narrow grip width during your pull exercises is more effective. 2 of my favorite lat exercises that meet this criteria are doing underhand grip barbell rows and neutral grip pull-ups. Next on the list of building a wider frame is to also develop your upper traps region. Having more developed upper traps will directly contribute to how wide your shoulders look. Typically, your upper traps will naturally get some stimulation through exercises like deadlifts, rows, and face pulls. But to really level up your upper traps development, some extra isolation work is beneficial. The most often used exercise to develop the upper traps is the barbell shrug. But if you are familiar with my content, you know that I prefer a slightly different variation of the barbell shrug for more upper traps development, and that is doing wide grip barbell shrugs. Research shows that wide grip barbell shrugs activate the upper traps better than a traditional shoulder width shrug. This is because your upper traps muscle fibers run diagonally up. So when you widen your grip on the shrugs, the resistance now aligns better with the upper traps and you can stimulate the muscle more. The 4th and last area we want to develop to create a wider frame is the upper chest region. The upper chest area is close to your front deltoids and trap muscles. So having more developed upper chest muscles will make that area around your shoulders look overall filled up with muscle. Not to mention that to train the upper chest area effectively, the front deltoids also have to work. So by definition, if you focus more on developing the upper chest, then your deltoid muscles will also have to develop alongside of it. The best way to focus on training your upper chest is through a challenging incline press. A 2020 study investigated different bench angles for the best upper chest activation. The researchers found that at a bench angle of about 30 degrees, the upper chest or clavicular head of the pectoralis major is challenged the best. So I would also recommend incline pressing mostly at a 30-degree bench angle. So now that we have discussed how you can train all of the key areas for developing a wider shoulder frame, let's put all these tips together into a practical training example. So we don't just talk about training theory, but you also have something you can actually use in practice. Let's say someone trains their upper body 2 times per week. In the training example you can see now, you can find a simplified upper body example workout that hits all the areas we mentioned. We have a shoulder press, a rear delt fly, side raises twice for more side delt development. We also have narrow grip rows and pull-ups. We got wide grip shrugs and an incline press. Of course, this training example is very much focused on creating a wider frame. I wouldn't suggest training like this year-round. But such a specialized training routine that focuses on a few key areas can be run for about 6 to 12 weeks in a lean bulking process to help bring up more shoulder width if that's a goal you have. And that is all for today's video. I hope you now have a better understanding on how you can approach the training goal of developing wider shoulders. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Also, if you found this video helpful, then leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you in that next video.